Welcome to 15 Minutes of Mental Toughness with your host, Dr. Rob Bell. Dr. Rob interviews expert coaches, executives, and athletes about mental toughness and their hinge moments. The hinge. It connects who we are with who we become, and it only takes one. And now for your host, Dr. Rob.
So here we are in 15 minutes of mental toughness, and I'm really excited about this guest here. This is Gary Brackett. Indianapolis, is from New Jersey. I think you're going to love his story. The reason I put up New Jersey is because of the history there. And Super Bowl champion and family man, 3 kids, and is in charge of Stacked Pickle here in Indianapolis. How many stores do you have right now?
We have 10 locations.
10 locations. And what's the vision?
Man, the vision is 50 stores in 5 years.
50 stores in 5 years. That was the piece when we met. I was pretty attracted to that.
Yep.
So in 15 minutes of mental toughness. But I'm really excited, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we always get into it. What is mental toughness to you?
Man, that's a great question. I think mental toughness, to me, I'm always reminded by this quote Coach Caldwell used to share with us, and he always say that mental is to physical 10-1. And so many times, people rely on their physical toughness, right? How big are you? How strong are you? But in my mind, mental toughness tops all of that. Like how mentally tough are you? And for me, when I think about mental toughness, I think about people who have been through so much adversity and were able to overcome, and not only overcome, but become a better person because of it.
You know, I mean, you were an undrafted free agent. You came out of the powerhouse of Rutgers. Nothing against Rutgers, man. But I mean, you know, your work ethic, your hard work is what got you through. When did you learn about the mental toughness, and how did you apply that and overcome that adversity?
It's a good question. So my senior year in high school, we had graduated about 20 seniors. Only 2 underclassmen played varsity. And our coach called it a rebuilding year. So here I am wanting to get recruited from high school, and my coach called it a rebuilding year. So I'm supposed to be all everything, running back and linebacker. First game I had like negative 30 yards. That practice, I told the coach, like, man, I want to practice with the offensive lineman. He was like, why you want to do that? I'm like, I want them to feel what I felt in this game, right? Negative 30 yards. Like they got to feel my pain. So I went down there and practiced with the linemen, and really was and they were undersized, right? It was high school D1 ball. I'm probably one of the biggest kids on the team as a running back. Mm-hmm. And my message to them was really, one guy was like, man, I can't block him. He's too big. He's too strong. And my thing to him was like, man, give me what you got. Like, he might be big, he might be strong, but you got more than a whiff. You got more than a 1-second block. Right? Give me 4 or 5 seconds. Give me something. Give me more than what you're doing right now. Dig down deep. Whatever you give me, that's what I want. And they really loved me for it, because I was just like, look, man, I'm realistic. I know you're not gonna move that guy. He's an all-pro, all-state, whatever it is. But you could do more, right? And I think that mental toughness really got me to challenge in my life, like areas where I could do more. And that always just stuck with me throughout my entire life.
I really love that one. Give me what you got.
That's it.
If you can share with us, what's the toughest thing that you've overcome?
Man, that's I think for me, the toughest thing I overcome was losing my best friend, my father, my mother, my brother in about a 36-month period in my life, from senior in college to second year in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And almost felt like, man, it would never end. And for me, where I was able to overcome that Because there was one period in doing that whole ordeal, probably after I lost my brother, where I'm just cussing God. Like, where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
You left me. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like, you've done enough, right? And then where are you at in my life right now? And it's at that moment in my house in New Jersey, up in our bathroom wall, it was the poem Footprints. And at that moment, I read the poem and talked about how when there are areas in your life when you only see one set of footprints, and the guy replied, "That son is when I carried you." And I think that's the toughest part of my life, and that's what kind of got me through by reading that poem and understanding that, you know, God has a plan for our life. No matter how challenging it gets, He still has an awesome plan.
Wow, that's great, man. You know, how did that experience, if you can go a little bit further in depth, I mean, how did that experience shape you? I mean, you're new in the league. I mean, you're trying to get established and play, and I mean, how did that shape your experience and you and your life?
I really think it shaped just appreciation. I think just understanding how valuable life is, because sometimes we take for granted like how grateful we should be just by waking up every morning and taking that breath. Because there's a lot of people that's going to sleep tonight that won't wake up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So waking up every morning, I just always felt eternally grateful. In that area of my life, it really was shaped by losing so many of my loved ones that I knew wish they had another breath. And if they did, I knew they would give it all that they had. That's why I'm probably a little bit guilty of being overzealous with my days and planning and scheduling. But it's just because I'm just trying to maximize this thing called life.
Yeah, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed to us.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah. You know, you're an author. There's going to be a movie coming out about your life. What, you know, we kind of talked about this before. I mean, one's identity in football, but then you transition into the entrepreneur. Can you talk about that a little bit in terms of that transition and how, you know, the overall mentality that you've had to have?
Yeah, I think in life, period, I believe hugely in this thing called transferable skills, right? In order to do something in our life, we have to build a certain amount of skill set, whether it's discipline, whether it's perseverance, whether it was, you know, mental, you know, toughness, whatever that is, we had to build it, and whatever we're doing in our lives. And I've always felt like that was transferable. People say, "You're a football player," and I tell them, no, I was a CDO. I was a Chief Defensive Operator, right? I mean, we had a $1 billion business, 100 people in the company. I am one of 3 captains on a team that was one of the most winningest team in any decade of football. That doesn't happen because I'm a football player. And I think that same discipline, sacrifice, leadership, all those skills that I learned there, I'm doing now. And I think that all those things are transferable.
Yeah. You know, let me go off script just for a second here. Which one, I mean, you were in 2 Super Bowls, 2006 and 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you think about more?
when we lost.
Yeah.
I think
why is that?
Losing shapes our lives way more than winning does. Because I think sometimes when we win, we take it for granted. And we don't know how special it was. But when we lose, we remember how close we were. Right? And how much hard work we put into it. And how much hard work, maybe regret. So maybe some things we wish we'd have done better. So in the second Super Bowl, nothing I could do. But I broke my hand in the second quarter.
Oh, that's right.
And I played the rest of the game with a broken hand. And, you know, I always regret breaking my hand, how I tackled the guy. My hand was out of the way. I still have a stat. I had the most solo tackles of any other player, any other Super Bowl during that game. And I think if my hand was 100%, I probably would have had a couple more. So those things go through my mind all the time. But it just, I mean, we had the saying when we were playing football, and it was no gas. And it was no one gives a, and if you're smart, you could probably finish the sentence, right? And that's what it is in life. No one cares, right? No one cares. And I think it just, so what, now what, right? So then how are you going to do what you're going to do now to kind of overcome and kind of make amends with that?
Yeah. You have a successful podcast, Success Leaves Clues. On that theme, our losses do shape us more. What do we need to learn, or I guess better question is, how do we hold on to those successes, and how do we allow those to even drive us?
Yeah, they're important, right? Because when we're successful, if you look in retrospect of what it took to get there, we can see a common theme that probably led to that success. And conversely, when you look at negative things that happen in your life, performance related, we can also look at clues that led to those negative performances. So in my mind, Success Leaves Clues to me was about not only in my personal life, right, me versus me, but also wanting to be better, wanting to have mentors, some that know they're my mentors and a lot that don't, that I look over and I look at their patterns and I try to implement them in my life. So that's always been helpful for me, looking at successful people and just looking at the clues that they dropped that got them to where they got to figure out if I can achieve the same level of success by mimicking some of those same things.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I guess, one thing I want to mention, so in 2006, heading into the playoffs, defense wasn't that good. You got a player back in Bob Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the years where you all weren't even favored to win. How did that impact the overall team mentality?
I think a lot of things happened. I think obviously Bob Sanders was a phenomenal football player. I think Rob Morris, who was middle linebacker before I came in, he actually moved from Mike linebacker to Sam linebacker. And what that did for me was to give us another voice out there on the football field, another voice of leadership. And that was important because the message was a lot of times when you do something wrong or something doesn't happen in our life, we think we got to add more. We got to do more. We got to do more. We got to be more. Mm-hmm. And Coach Dungy said, no, man, it's addition by subtraction. We're actually going to remove things from our playbook, right? And you should remove things out of your life and focus on what really matters and do the things that really matters really well. And that's what we did, man. We eliminated the game plan, got a real small, real concise, and we just played extremely fast because we felt confident in our ability to execute the game plan.
So you simplified everything. Simple is powerful.
That's it, man.
I guess another question, like what's it like being a middle linebacker? What's it like being the Mike?
Yeah, that's a good question. I tell people, man, I used to hit with the buffalo and run with the deer, right? So hit with the buffalo, obviously the offensive lineman, and then run with the deer, running with the wide receivers, man. And you just had to have that skill set to, yeah, you're strong, you're fast, you got to be physical, but you also have to be quick. You also have to play out there in space. So it just, for me, the Mike is like quarterback of the defense. So I had to be in tune of what was going on, game plan wise, and really what personnel was out there. Because sometimes they would give calls in my helmets that I was supposed to call, but I knew that the personnel wasn't going to be good for that call.
Uh-huh. Case
in point, man coverage when we got Randy Moss and a 5'10" corner is not a great call.
Really?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Cover 2, when that corner jams and he has over top help from a safety, is a much better call. So just kind of making those adjustments and having that awareness to kind of get that done throughout the field, I think is what made it successful as well.
And that all comes from your preparation?
All preparation. And really, obviously, Peyton Manning is one of the best at preparing for a game. And really just understanding, being one of the first ones to come to the building, last ones to leave. And the amount of work that you get done while you're there, it was always like, if you make practice hard throughout the week, the game should be easy.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of the mic, how does that translate again into now your current role?
Yeah, I think right now I feel like I'm the Mike, which is the quarterback of the defense. I feel like I'm the quarterback of the Stacked Pickle. I think we have 10 locations, over 500 employees. We're franchising. So we're growing. We have a lot of people interested in buying into our concept and franchising that really all over the nation, really all over the world, because I'm talking to a person from Australia right now. And for me, my position, man, is that same preparation. Before it happens, I have to be prepared and think what type of tools are they going to need to be successful, and making sure that I'm equipped to give them that type of tools, because how I measure success ultimately is how many other people that I can have reach success.
Yeah, that's awesome. In terms of what you want to share with people when it comes to mental toughness, what would be one piece of advice that you want to share with people that they need to know, for success and mental toughness?
I think it's what I talked to earlier, like, give me what you got, right? And I really think I read this book called SEAL, and it talks about the Navy SEALs thinking that when we're going as hard as we're going, we're really only at 40%.
Yep.
So the whole mental toughness piece for me is just like, no matter how hard you're working, there's probably another level that you can kick it up to. And for me, that mental toughness is every day challenging myself, like, how can I get better? Because I think in life we get better or worse. Mm-hmm. So I challenge myself every day, how can I get better today?
And so what would be an example? Like, how would somebody challenge themselves?
I think one big thing always is like weight, right? And people think weight, I got to work out more, I got to exercise more. Really, it's about your nutrition. So you could exercise a ton more, or you could change your eating habits, right? And that's that discipline, that's that sacrifice, a better you. How are you going to get that done? Well, yeah, you're going to exercise, you're going to drink water, but also you're going to be very careful of some of the things that you eat. That's why in our restaurants, the Stacked Pickle, we really focus on the healthy options with our salads, with our wraps, with our rice bowls, because we know a lot of people have that mental preparation and they want to get that healthy environment. They still want to go out and enjoy themselves. So you have to be willing to have those type of things on your menu to kind of accommodate them.
So the mental toughness piece, when you show up at your restaurant, order one of the healthy options.
That's it, man.
See, I'm all about the rice bowls, man. That's just me, though.
Yeah, they're very filling, man.
Where can people follow you? Where can people learn more about you and just kind of learn from you?
Yeah, awesome. Man, I have a ton of websites. GaryBrackett.org is my foundation website. Very blessed to be able to help over 100,000 Hoosier lives here in Indiana throughout the foundation. GaryBrackett.com is my motivational speaking page, where there's blogs on there about what I got going on in my life. Stacked Pickle, that's where you can go find out about franchise opportunities, or if you've never been, I think we have one of the best menus, best pork tenderloins in town. And then also Brackett.movie, new movie we're working on. Hopefully we can release it next year. We're still fundraising. Brackett.movie, you can see the trailer and also information about the new movie we got coming out.
Man, that's awesome. Can you talk about your foundation, GaryBrackett.org, real quick?
Yeah, GaryBrackett.org, man. I started, almost like 8 years ago now, when my brother passed away with leukemia, cancer, and I just saw how deadly the disease was, and I just wanted to help in some type of area. So I was able to put together a foundation and was able to help in that area. Now we've kind of opened up a little bit more to critically and chronically ill and disadvantaged youth. But very proud about that. It's funny because we schedule about 10, 15 events a year. And every time it comes up, sometimes I'm like, oh, man, I got to go to another event. And every time I go, man, I'm blessed by the people that we're able to touch. But not only are we helping them, they're helping us by showing that the world will be a better place if we all just gave back a little.
Isn't that the funny thing? It's like, even though they help us out more than we ever help them out.
It's amazing.
No one gets there alone.
Yeah, no one gets there alone.
Hey, so hit with the buffalo, run with the deer.
That's it, baby.
That might be the title, man. Thank you so much, man, for joining us.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Mental Toughness Podcast. If you like what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast. You can also check us out on Twitter at Dr. Rob Bell or visit our website at drrobbell.com.